Hey everybody, Rich Morgan. I am the CEO of Magic Touch Mechanical in Mesa, Arizona, as well as the Fireplace in Mesa, Arizona. Magic Touch Mechanical does air conditioning and heating, ducting, that kind of stuff. We've been in business for 26 years. I'm the founder of the company. The Fireplace, as the name implies, we service, install, and maintenance fireplaces, fire pits, fire features, that kind of thing. Today, though, I just want to focus on the air conditioning side of the business. And I don't normally post videos. I normally write a blog. If you guys haven't checked out my blog before, it's on our website. It is airconditioningarizona.com. On our blog page, I have for years and years written hundreds and hundreds of blogs educating people on everything air conditioning, fireplaces, heating, you name it. I do product reviews, explainer videos, that kind of stuff. So if you want to know how to light your pilot light, you can check it out. If you want to know the difference between Train and American Standard, you could check it out. There's pretty much every subject. So today, though, I thought I would cover a topic that I've written about multiple times, and I constantly update the information, and that has to do with the types of air conditioners or heat pumps, the technology types that are available now. It is July 2023. Obviously, a lot of technology changes since air conditioning was invented in 1902 by Willis Carrier. And so let's talk about the big three. There's technically four types, but let's talk about the three different types of technologies. Those are variable speed air conditioners or variable speed heat pumps, also known as inverters. Two-stage air conditioners, and single speed or single-stage air conditioners. So let's determine which one's best for you in your home. So first off, you shouldn't choose a new heat pump or air conditioner without first understanding how differently they all work. I've personally owned all three of these technologies, and I can tell you from experience that they're drastically different. Energy savings and efficiency is one thing, but the major difference that these three technologies deliver differently is comfort. So if you've been researching air conditioners or heat pumps, you've probably already run across terms describing the technology they use. And I'm referring to, again, variable speed inverters, two-stage, and single-stage, the original compressor, right? So the other thing that's important to know is the type of compressor or the brand of compressor. Most manufacturers are using Copeland brand compressors now. Trane for a long time built their own compressor. Majority of their equipment now also includes the Copeland. However, even if there is the same brand of compressor in the air conditioner, there's big differences in how these compressors work, and that's based on these technologies. So understanding the differences will help you understand if it's worth investing in a more expensive technology for your own home based on your budget, your needs, what you want comfort-wise, that kind of thing, right? So let's start just from a homeowner's viewpoint, right? Everyone that's watching today has experienced single-speed air conditioning. It's the one that started it all. I think I already mentioned, Willis Carrier, Carrier Corporation invented air conditioning in 1902, and that's the technology that we all grew up with. Well, if you're, I should say, if you're old like me or older than me, then you definitely grew up with this technology. If you're Gen Z, you may have had two-stage or even inverter that you grew up with, but single stage is the original. And a couple of decades ago, two-stage air conditioners started to become available and more affordable for the residential market. This technology existed before. It was used in some commercial applications, but for the most part, There wasn't a two-stage air conditioner that was affordable for the residential market up until a couple of decades ago. And early adopters, clients who did buy into two-stage equipment, would tell you that they were amazed at the difference. Basically, how this worked is there was a low speed and a high speed, um, and so it switched automatically. And not only did owners' energy bills decrease, but their comfort increased, right? Because you don't always need that high power, but you want it when you do need it, right? So. Um, but then the game changer came, and that was the variable speed air conditioner, the inverter. And I'll tell you the same thing that our clients say, and that is that you have not experienced true comfort from an air conditioner until you've had an inverter air conditioner. There really is that great a difference. And by the by, that's my little dog Al in the background. He's not happy that I'm recording and not paying attention to him. Hi, Al. I digress. So, variable speed game changer, right? I personally have owned all three, like I said, and when I went from the a single stage to two stage, I said I'll never look back. I'll only have two stage. And at this point, there was no inverter technology available for the type of air conditioner I had in my home at the time. Then when I went to an inverter from two stage, I was just blown away. I was like, wow. Most manufacturers say that their variable speed inverters will cool to your comfort setting within a half a degree. And I have to say, I agree. It's pretty much set it and forget it. I installed two inverter heat pumps. Well, technically, I have three inverter heat pumps in my home. I have two in my main home and one in my workshop. They work a little differently. We'll talk about those. But I will say, I hardly ever look at my thermostats. They cool. I keep my home like a meat locker because I'm in the air conditioning business, it's what I do. So I'm a big believer in air conditioner. I want it to be comfortable. I keep it cool, and it stays at my temperature setting all the time. I don't have to go up and adjust my thermostat or whatever. Whatever I have it set on, it's just there 24/7, no matter the fluctuations in the heat outside. So we'll talk about why that happens. But again, I wouldn't go back. There's a noticeable difference when you go from single stage to two stage. There is an exponential difference when you go from two stage to variable speed inverter. So, by the way, on our blog, again, it's airconditioningarizona.com. If you just use our little search tool and search, just start with variable speed versus, and I have infographics, I have multiple articles explaining each, breaking it down, but this is kind of the overview of all of it. So let's start with variable speed, right? Let's start with an inverter and what makes the difference. So first off, most air conditioning companies, especially here in Phoenix, probably have an inverter option that they're going to offer for their customers. If they don't, they should, in my opinion. But in recent years, inverters have taken Phoenix by storm. Companies like Trane, Lennox, Carrier, the big three, they once led the pack in this technology. I think there are other brands entering the market. I should say entering the American market. Europe, Asia has long been using inverters. They're known for using ductless. And by the way, I'm not just talking about ductless, although it is the same technology. In most mini splits, I am talking about true central air conditioners that have a variable speed compressor in them. But companies like Bosch, Gree, Amana, who is owned by Daikin, who owns the Goodman brand, they've all come out with inverters at a lower price point. than your Lennox and your Trains and your Carriers and whatnot. I've also written articles about my equipment in my house, which, by the way, I own two Lennox inverter systems. They're called the XC25s. That was their top of the line 3.5 years ago when I put them in. There's one higher than that now, but I also have a Gree mini split ductless inverter that's cooling my workshop. So there's some differences between those, and we'll talk about those too. So these companies once led the pack on them, but now these other ones, specifically a lot of brands coming out of Asia, they're building the same technology, more efficient, same warranties, etc., for less money. So they've gained a lot of popularity, especially here in Phoenix, where it's the perfect market for them. So what makes this technology special? It's that it's got the ability to deliver only the capacity that's needed for the conditions at the time. So an air conditioner by capacity, what I mean is, you've probably heard it referred to as tons. So 3-ton machine, a 4-ton machine, a 5-ton. But more accurately, an air conditioner's capacity is how many BTUs per hour it can deliver. And a BTU stands for British Thermal Units. And it's just a unit of measurement, just like degrees. But to simplify things, the industry has broken it down into tonnages. And it's just a lot easier to say, this is a 5-ton machine than this is a 59,800 BTUH air conditioner or heat pump, right? So, but what an inverter does is it has the ability to ramp up and down in very tiny increments, depending on the load or how much cooling is needed at the time. And a variable speed inverter compressor can operate at many different speeds, so it uses as little or as much power as is needed to get the job done at that time. So there's a reason it's a game changer in a hot climate like Arizona. And so let's talk about it like an example of where that would come in handy, right? So let's just take a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, let's say 2,000 square feet. Typically in Phoenix, now there's a lot of variables involved, but let's just say, for example's sake, that usually in a 2,000 square foot home, you're going to see about a 5-ton air conditioner if it's a single one air conditioner cooling the entire home. So that 5-ton is really designed, it's meant to handle the load in the most extreme conditions. So for July, today is July 11th, it's 111 out, I think, or maybe higher than that. It's nice and cool in here in my office because thanks to variable speed inverter. But on a 110 degree day or 110 plus, it's going to be using its max capacity, right? And the unit's got to be sized for that heat. So if you had an inverter or a 2-stage or a single stage, you're going to have a 5-ton machine, right? But there are days when we still need cooling, but maybe we don't need full capacity. So let's say it's 90 degrees out, and just based on the home, again, there's a lot of variables, but let's just, for example purposes, let's say at any given moment in time, what's needed for that load is 3.2 tons. Well, an inverter can ramp itself down to deliver only 3.2 tons and not be producing 5 tons worth of energy. I'm oversimplifying this, but you get the gist of it, right? Whereas a single stage compressor, it's operating at 5 tons, whether it needs 3.2 tons or whether it needs 5 tons. And so we're wasting all that additional efficiency when it's not needed. So another benefit besides the comfort, to me, comfort is the biggest thing when it comes to variable speeds. But another benefit is the quietness, the low decibel ratings of these machines. Just by design and the way they operate, especially when they're operating at a lower stage, these units tend to have a much, much lower decibel rating than your two stages and definitely than your single stages. So if low sound is important to you, it's a good, this is a good option for you. For me, again, I have 3 of them in my house, 2 in my main house, which are located, as you would imagine, right next to the bedroom window, right? So the master bedroom, right now, July, they're running constant, right? And so I want them to be quiet, and I cannot hear them. I will tell you, I do not hear them. I have good glass, but I don't hear them regardless. You have to walk up to them to actually hear them, and we actually have some videos on our website where you can actually hear some of these machines too. And then the icing on the cake is the efficiency, right? These systems are amongst the most efficient on the market. So, you know, you're going to have a lot lower energy bill. The upfront cost is going to be higher. And when you get to a certain point on efficiency, the juice stops being worth the squeeze. In other words, I wouldn't spend, the difference is incremental, and I wouldn't spend thousands of dollars more to have, say, an 18 SEER over a 17 SEER unit. And I'm just using examples here. Some of the SEER ratings on some of these variable speed inverters get up into the 30s, especially on mini splits, and on central they're up 20s, low 20 SEERs ratings now, which is now SEER 2. It's another video. But the energy efficiency really is the icing on the cake. Where these machines shine and where this technology shines is perfect temperature 24/7, no matter the capacity. Again, other variables, right? So in my own home, I'm well insulated. I have solar shade screens on my home. All the conditions are right. I'm also a BPI certified energy auditor, if you will. And so I know the things I've conducted personally, thousands of home energy audits, both in Phoenix and in New York. And I will tell you that I recommend the same things every time, right? If the insulation's not right, that's got to be repaired. Solar shade screens, no brainer. But again, I digress. Let's move on to the next technology. So I did mention at the beginning of this video that there's technically 4 technologies. And so I'm going to cover the 4th technology real quick because it's one I think you should avoid, frankly. And that's what they call, excuse me, multi-stage or multi-step. And so where a variable speed inverter would have somewhere between 65 speeds all the way up to 750 speeds or steps or stages, just little incremental changes in the amount of energy they consume for the results at the time. A multi-stage might have 6 to 10 stages. Unfortunately, there are a few manufacturers out there that are advertising or marketing their multi-stage machine as an inverter or as a variable speed unit. And technically it's not. It's a multi-step. Is it better than a 2-stage and better than a single stage? Absolutely. Should it be called or marketed as an inverter? I don't believe so. Now I will say, so for example, my 2 Lennox systems are 65 stages each. They're true inverters. In fact, at the time, it was the most efficient inverter unit on the market 3.5 years ago. My Gree unit has several hundred stages. Now, I can't tell the difference, for one. And I'll tell you this, my 65-stage Lennox XC25s, I couldn't tell you if they're in 2nd stage, 10th stage, 29th stage, or 65th stage. And frankly, I don't care. All I care about is that they are keeping my temperature setting to the way I like it. They're keeping my home comfortable, and they do that. So I don't care what speed they're in, um, as long as they're operating the most efficiently to satisfy the conditions that I'm, in the conditions and to the temperature that I'm setting them at. So I would basically recommend that if you find out somebody's talking to you about a multi-step unit, just move on and go to an inverter. There's not that much of a price difference. In fact, we're going to talk about two stages now. That is the more known technology. And just as the name applies, two-stage is two speeds, right? You got a low speed, you got a high speed. So let's take that same scenario of 90 degrees versus 110. In the morning, it's not 90 degrees all day, right? So in the morning, it's going to slowly start warming up. More than likely, that two-stage is going to start out its day running in your low speed, right? When it needs it at the peak of the heat, it's going to go into that high stage and run there until temperatures cool down enough to where it can kick back down to the low stage, right? So that's a two-stage. The difference between that and the inverter, obviously, is there's many little steps between that high and that low. And so I will tell you that I did see when I was in two-stage equipment, I replaced a single stage, an old train, with a two-stage Lennox. And there was definitely a reduction in my utility bill. There was a definite difference in comfort. But it wasn't exponential, like I said, when I went from two-stage to a variable speed inverter. And so then the last but not least, there's the single stage, right? This is the air conditioner that started it all. It's 121-year-old technology at this point. Most homes are still using single stage air conditioners. So if your air conditioner's older than 15 years, say, or you have a builder grade model in your house that the builder put in, what have you, more than likely you have a single stage unit. Hey, I love air conditioning. I made a living doing it for the last 3+ decades. I live in Phoenix. I wouldn't live in Phoenix without air conditioning, just as a consumer and a homeowner. But this is old technology. It's very dated technology. And the way it works is it comes on, it goes up to 100%, it stays there, shuts off, up to 100%, shuts off. And like most people, when I had single stage, I found myself fiddling with the thermostat, right? So I have it set to 75 degrees, let's say. It creeps up a little bit past 75. It kicks on, goes to 100%, gets a little chilly, goes back. So you have these big varying temperature swings, right? A two-stage, a single stage, boom, we're here, now we're here, now we're here. Whereas a two-stage, we might have more of a temperature swing like this, right? Whereas a variable speed, we have kind of a real steady, not much fluctuation. Again, within a half a degree typically. So that, in a nutshell, is the difference between the 3 or 4 air conditioning technologies. If you want to learn some more, again, I have much deeper, more information, and it's written, so you don't have to listen to me or look at me. But it's on our website, and that is airconditioningarizona.com. Thanks a lot.